I'm getting the feeling you want to do that too, huh? You're probably asking, what's that gun? Where did you get it? It's so OP. Well, it's not entirely the gun. The gun helps, yeah, but most of this is due to Moze and how you can build her. Moze has a variety of great skills that allow you to make incredible use of area of effect damage, while also keeping your magazines full to better use that AoE damage. With this build, you'll be able to easily tear through any boss in the game and clear through massive waves of enemies, even at Mayhem 3. So let's get right into it. My Blastmaster build for Moze, the Gunner. We'll start out with the skills. If you only want the spec, I'll let you see it really quick so you can copy it. But I do highly recommend you look at the full video so you know exactly how to use the build. Let's go over the spec. For your action skill, it doesn't really matter what you pick. You're not really going to be using Iron Bear to fight. This build focuses on making you yourself more powerful. I put on the grenade launchers because they're explosive, fits with the build better, but in reality it doesn't really matter. Neither do the augments for it. So starting in the Bottomless mags tree, you want Cloud of Lead 5. You do over 11% bonus fire damage, and you don't consume ammo every 4 times you fire. Then you want Stoke the Embers 3. This gives you 30% more fire damage, so you're stacking 2 bonuses together. Then Redistribution. After a critical hit, you regen 10% of your magazine for 3 seconds. Pairs well with Cloud of Lead. Then Scrappy 1 to get you into the next row. It's the best one to use to get into the next row since it does give you a few nice weapon feel bonuses. You're not going to need the turret for Iron Bear, and 2% more mag size isn't worth it either. Russian Offensive, this isn't really needed. I personally have it because I like it, it's good for mobbing, but if you're only boss killing, you don't really have to have this skill if you don't want it. When I was done with the build, I had 1 point left, so I tossed it in there. What you do need though is Scorching RPMs 5. This gives you 15% more fire rate and 20% more critical damage. Very good skill. Then next you need 5 points spent to get into the next row. I decided to go with the Iron Bank. A bigger mag leaves more room for your ammo skills to regen ammo before a reload. You could put the points somewhere else if you wanted to, but to me more mag size was the best bet. You basically wanted to get down to some for the road. This is important for boss kills, because it gives you 5 seconds of infinite ammo when exiting Iron Bear. This works with all weapon types, including rockets. Very good skill that really helps you melt bosses. Now we're moving on to Demolition Woman. This is where all the explosive buffs come from. So first you want Fire in the Skagden 5. Whenever you do AoE damage, you get 15% bonus fire damage. Stacks up well with your other skills. Then you want Means of Destruction 3. This gives you a 10% possibility to not consume ammo when doing AoE damage. 6% for grenades. Then you want Torg Cross Promotion 5. This gives you a 15% possibility to double the size of your AoE. 15 may seem kinda low, but you're gonna be making a lot of explosions, so it's gonna be activating a lot. Then you want Pull the Holy Pin 3. Your grenades will have a 30% possibility to crit. Grenades already hurt a lot as it is, so you can probably guess how good this skill is. Then you want Vampire 5. This restores 20% of your health for every enemy hit, and you're going to be hitting enemies a lot. Next you want Why Can't I Carry All These Grenades 3. This increases your grenade carrying capacity by 3. If you have your grenade SDU maxed out, that's 14 grenades. Then you want To the Last. This lets you throw grenades while in fight for your life. If you threw a grenade before gaining a second wind, that grenade is also refunded. Then finally, you want Short Fuse. When you deal gun damage, there is a 20% possibility of dealing a secondary explosion that does 75% of your gun damage. So that's the spec. Now you can optimize it a little better depending on what you're doing. For bosses, I have points spent to get to Some for the Road, because it's super easy to go in and out of Iron Bear and to spam damage on a boss. You can do it without this and instead get more damage with points elsewhere, but it's inconsistent from what I've tested. Sometimes the other ammo regen skills can't keep up, and you end up reloading before you stack up enough stickies to get the instant boss kill. So I do like having Some for the Road, because it makes it consistent, and as you guys saw, you already deal enough damage to insta-kill any boss that doesn't have immunity phases. so you don't really need more damage. However, for mobbing, where you don't have to spam a ton of attacks in a small time frame, you could move a few skills around. Like instead of having scorching RPMs, the Iron Bank, Russian Offensive, and some for the road, you could instead have Armored Infantry 5, Drowning in Bass 5, and Experimental Munitions in the other tree. This allows you to do a lot more damage with your other weapons, since you're not going to be stacking rockets and stuff onto regular enemies. So if you are purely mobbing, I recommend that. Anyway, let's talk about the gear now. The Blastmaster class mod, this is what the build is named after, so you know it's important. This gives you bonuses to some great skills. Mine buffs Redistribution, Vampire, and Pull the Holy Pin. Yours likely will too, give or take one of those skills. It also gives up to 100% AoE damage, depending on how long you go without reloading. Due to the infinite ammo, you're gonna go 5 seconds without reloading or more, even with a rocket. And with most regular weapons, you'll go even longer without reloading, or even end up never reloading. So you're gonna make full use of this bonus pretty easily. It's a fantastic bonus. You also could get other side bonuses at the bottom. The only useful one I have on mine is 25% weapon damage. You could get super lucky and get other good bonuses on yours as well, like fire damage, torg damage, etc. As for the relic, there's no specific relic that I know of that you would really want. What matters the most is the side bonuses. Like I have one with 33% AoE damage, and that's great. Again, you could find a better relic with some of the bonuses I said a little bit ago. My grenade mod I use the most is the Hex. This one is electric. I like this one a lot because it homes in on targets and follows them around, while also doing tons of ticks of AoE damage. So it procs my skills a lot, gets lots of ammo regen, critical hits, yada yada. Since your grenades will constantly be regenning, you won't even need to have an electric weapon equipped. Now that's my personal preference. I think it works the overall best because it does the most, but you could put on other grenade mods that you like. Maybe you want to go with a Merv grenade for big damage, or a Singularity nade to group people up for all of your AoE. That's on you. As for my shield, this doesn't really matter all too much. I haven't found anything that really buffs the build in any way. Right now I use the recharger because I like it. When it breaks, it instantly goes back up, as long as it's not on the 20-second cooldown. You could use the transformer so your electric grenades don't hurt you. My Hex homes in on enemies and follows them around, so it never really hurts me. But if you're using another grenade like the Stormfront, then the transformer could be the call. So for boss kills, there's mainly only one weapon you want to use, and that's a Torg rocket like the one I have. You don't need a super specific one, but you want one that's like mine. High damage, high bonuses, and preferably a ×2 multiplier. I recommend this because Torg weapons have a mechanic where you can swap your firing mode to fire stickies. And what you do is you stack a ton of stickies onto the boss while having infinite ammo from Iron Bear. And the stickies can deal increased damage for every sticky stuck to an enemy. For example, mine does 75% more. So what you do is you end up detonating them all at once for the insta-kill. This used to work very well with Torg shotguns too, but they recently nerfed the sticky bonus you get on them. They can still do a lot of damage and they can still take out regular bosses, but bigger bosses like Grave Ward can often survive it now. In order to take out bigger bosses with them now, you need to have Mayhem modifiers working in your favor, or have good anointed effects. You'd basically want some kind of bonus damage for exiting Iron Bear. On the rocket, you don't really need an anointed effect like that, but if you find a good one with it, there's no reason not to use it. They could end up adding bosses with more health or nerfing Torg rockets too, so having that effect ahead of time would be really nice and convenient for you. Of course, if you can also get these weapons with an element that's super effective against the boss you're fighting, that's also a big help. Anyway, those are your boss killers. As for other weapons for regular mobbing, I really like the Flacker. They made the Flacker so good in this game. It makes this big tube of explosions that decimates anything in it. You could also get it with an element now, and that would make it even better. Mine doesn't even have an element and it's still tearing, so keep that in mind. This weapon also does a lot of damage to bosses. It's not an insta-killer, but it can mess up all the smaller bosses pretty bad. The Ogre is really fun, another one of my favorites. It has a really big mag, so the odds of you ever having to reload are really small. You can constantly spam out a ton of rapid fire explosions. I don't know if this one can come with an element though. I've seen 4 or 5 now, and they were all plain explosive. But if they can come with an element, you would definitely want one. Basically, any AoE weapon tends to be pretty great. I can't really name them all or let you see them all, because there's so many weapons in this game. There's stuff like the Echo, Tribolt, Foursome, Thorns, Occultist, Devastator. There's tons, guys, really. Tons of fun weapons that work well on Moze. The only thing you need to worry about is them having AoE. That's it. Now keep in mind, not only Torgue guns deal AoE. There's plenty of other guns that deal AoE. An example of one that is really good on Moze is the Hellfire. The Hellfire always comes with fire AoE and it tears things up. As far as where to get all this gear, I'm gonna be honest, it all seems like random drops. For the most part. Farm bosses, hope you get lucky. Mayhem 3 gives a ton of loot, even after they nerfed it. So you will end up getting good stuff, I promise. If any of this gear ends up getting its dedicated source discovered, then I'll make a guide on the gear and put the link to that guide in the description of this video. If links never get put down there, then assume this stuff has no dedicated source. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the gear in this game didn't have one, because that's what it feels like so far. The Hellfire does though. I've already made a guide on that and it will be linked below. Also guys, keep Mayhem modifiers in mind while playing, because they will make your effectiveness vary. I have a lot of non-elemental explosive weapons, so when I get multiple modifiers that reduce my normal weapon damage, I find that I'm not able to insta-kill. Sometimes I still am regardless, cause Moze is a beast, and sometimes I barely miss out on the insta-kill, but there have been times where I barely take out a third of their health. So yeah, keep those modifiers in mind while playing. Saving and quitting resets them if you don't like the ones you get. Also, it is good to keep normal and elemental variants of your weapons on you, since modifiers do swap around on the fly. Having the 2 different variants keeps you from having to spam save and quit until you get the modifiers you want. But yeah, that's my Blastmaster build for Moze. I hope you guys have fun with it. Good luck farming up the gear. Feel free to let me know what you guys think of the build or any questions you have in the comments below. And yeah, that's pretty much it guys. I want to thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I'm gonna see you guys laters. Bye.